Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Halloween podcast. I am your host, Lyle Perez, and today we're continuing our Haunted America series with episode 8. It's September 19th, 2024, and today we're venturing into Delaware, the first state, where history runs deep and the spirits run restless. Despite being the second smallest state in the U.S., Delaware is packed with haunted locations, from historic mansions to eerie battlefields. So grab your flashlights and join me as we explore 10 of the most haunted locations in Delaware. Our journey begins at Fort Delaware, located on Pea Patch Island in the middle of the Delaware River. Built in 1859, this Civil War-era fort once housed Confederate prisoners of war, many of whom suffered and died within its walls. The fort's grim past has left a lasting impression, with numerous reports of ghostly activity. Visitors have reported hearing the sound of phantom footsteps echoing through the stone corridors, disembodied voices calling out in the dark, and even the distant clang of iron shackles. One of the most famous spirits is that of a Confederate soldier who appears in the officers' quarters, often staring out of the window, longing for his lost freedom. Others have seen shadowy figures in the dungeon area, where prisoners were held in terrible conditions. Paranormal investigators have captured EVPs of screams and whispers, as well as strange orbs of light. Fort Delaware is open to the public, with ghost tours available for those brave enough to explore the fort's haunted past. Next, we travel to Wilmington to visit the Rockwood Mansion, a stunning Gothic Revival estate built in the 1850s by Joseph Shipley, a wealthy merchant. The mansion's intricate architecture and beautiful gardens make it stand out, but it's the ghostly encounters that draw visitors from near and far. The mansion is said to be haunted by several spirits, including members of the Shipley family. The most frequent seen ghost is that of Mary Bringhurst, Shipley's niece, who inherited the mansion after his death. Mary has been seen wandering the hallways in a flowing Victorian gown, often appearing near the grand staircase. Guests have reported feeling an icy breeze as she passes by, along with the faint scent of her favorite perfume. There are also reports of a mysterious man in black, believed to be the former servant, who is often seen standing in the corners of the rooms, silently observing. In addition to visual apparitions, visitors have experienced objects moving on their own, sudden temperature drops, and even the sound of footsteps in rooms that should be empty. Rockwood Mansion is open to the public, and guided tours offer a deep dive into both its history and its hauntings. Our next stop takes us to Dover, where we find Woodburn, the official residence of Delaware's governor since 1965. Built in 1798, this stately mansion has seen its fair share of historic moments and ghostly encounters. Woodburn is rumored to be haunted by several spirits, including that of a man in Revolutionary War attire who is often seen pacing the gardens. The story goes that this ghost is a former owner who was fiercely patriotic, and his restless spirit remains tied to the mansion. Guests have reported seeing his figure complete with a tricone hat and feeling a sudden chill when he appears. Inside, visitors have also seen the ghost of a young girl in a long dress, believed to be the spirit of a former resident's daughter, She's known to be mischievous, moving objects around and playing tricks on those who visit. One of the strangest occurrences is the appearance of phantom footsteps and the sound of a ghostly horse and carriage pulling up to the mansion, only to find the grounds empty. Woodburn is still the official governor's residence and is still occasionally open for public tours, where you might just catch a glimpse of its otherworldly inhabitants. Heading to the coast, we arrive at the Abbey Sea, a historic bed and breakfast in Bethany Beach. Built in 1902 by John Addy, this Victorian-style seaside inn has become known for more than just its ocean views. It's also one of the most haunted inns in Delaware. Room 1 is said to be haunted by the ghost of John Addy himself, who has been seen walking the hallways, keeping watch over his beloved property. Guests have reported hearing soft footsteps outside their doors and feeling as if they're being watched. Room 6 is known for its paranormal activity, with reports of bathtubs shaking violently on their own. There's also the mysterious sound of organ music coming from nowhere, believed to be the spirit of a former guest who loved to play music. Guests and staff have also witnessed doors opening and closing on their own, flickering lights, and the occasional sound of soft whispering that seems to come from the walls themselves. The Abbey Sea is still open for bookings, offering guests the chance to enjoy a seaside stay and maybe meet one of its ghostly residents. In the coastal town of Lewis, we find the Cannonball House, a historic building dating back to the 1760s. The house earned its name during the War of 1812, when a British cannonball struck its walls, a reminder of the battle fought along Delaware shores. The house is rumored to be haunted by the spirit of a soldier who was killed during the bombardment. Visitors have reported seeing a man in military uniform standing by the windows, staring out at the harbor as if still on guard. Others have heard the sound of cannon fire and battle cries, as if echoes of the past are still playing out. Some have seen the cannonball itself glowing faintly, as if charged by the energy of the past. The Cannonball House is now a maritime museum and is open to the public, offering visitors a look into the town's rich history and a chance to experience its lingering spirits. Now we return to Dover to visit the Old State House, one of Delaware's oldest public buildings, completed in 1791. This Georgian-style building served as the state capitol for over 150 years and is rumored to be haunted by spirits tied to its long and storied history. One of the most frequently reported apparitions is that of a man in colonial clothing who appears in the courthouse. Witnesses have seen him sitting quietly, as if waiting for a trial that never ends. Others have seen shadowy figures moving through the hallways and hearing the faint rustle of paper, as if someone is still working late into the night, just like me at the Halloween podcast. There are also reports of a young woman who appears on the stairwell, dressed in period attire, often vanishing when approached. Paranormal investigators have captured unexplained voices on their recordings, and some visitors have felt sudden drops in temperature, even on warm days. The Old State House is open to the public, with guided tours that dive into both its political significance and its haunted tales. Wilmington's Bellevue Hall is a grand estate with a past filled with opulence and hauntings. Built in the 1850s and later remodeled by William DuPont, Bellevue Hall is a stunning example of Gilded Age architecture, but beneath its beauty lies a history of ghostly encounters. The most frequently seen spirit is that of a woman in a long gown who roams the upper floors. Believed to be the ghost of a former resident, she has been seen staring out of the windows and wandering through the gardens as if searching for something. Staff and visitors alike have reported hearing her soft footsteps on the ground staircase and the sound of faint sobbing coming from empty rooms. There are also reports of strange lights appearing in the windows at night and doors opening and closing on their own. The Bellevue Hall is now part of Bellevue State Park and is open to the public, where visitors can explore the grounds and perhaps encounter one of its lingering spirits. Back again in Dover, the Green is a historic town square surrounded by some of the oldest buildings in the state. Established in 1717, the Green has been the site of public gatherings, political debates, and according to some, ghostly encounters. One of the most notable spirits said to haunt the Green is that of a Revolutionary War soldier who has been seen marching late at night, his figure appearing and disappearing in the mist. Some have reported hearing the sound of musket fire and battle drums, as if echoes of past conflicts are still playing out. There are also reports of a woman in colonial dress who appears near the old courthouse, often seen weeping before vanishing into thin air. The Green remains a public space where locals and visitors alike can enjoy its historic charm and perhaps brush shoulders with its spectral residents. Next, we head to Newark, home of the Deer Park Tavern, a historic pub and inn dating back to 1851. The building's long history includes visits from Edgar Allan Poe and its time as a popular stop for travelers in the 19th century. The tavern is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of a woman who fell to her death from the balcony. Guests and staff have reported seeing her ghostly figure, often dressed in period clothing, wandering the upstairs rooms. Others have heard her footsteps pacing the floorboards and the sound of a soft cry late at night. There are also reports of a ghostly figure behind the bar, who is believed is a former bartender who continues to serve patrons from way beyond the grave. The Deer Park Tavern is still open for business, offering good food, good drinks, and the occasional ghost sighting. Our final stop brings us to Newcastle, where the Reed House and Gardens offer a beautiful yet haunting glimpse into Delaware's past. Built in 1804 by George Reed II, son of a signer of the Declaration of Independence, the house is a stunning example of Federal-style architecture. The Reed House is said to be haunted by the spirits of its former residents, including a young servant girl who died in the house. Visitors have reported seeing her figure in the upstairs window and hearing her soft singing echoing through the halls. The house's grand ballroom is another hotspot for paranormal activity, with reports of cold spots, flickering lights, and the sound of distant music. There's also the ghost of an older man, believed to be George Reed II himself, who has been seen standing by the fireplace, lost in thought. The Reed House and Gardens are open to the public, offering tours that explore its rich history and its many ghostly tales. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the 10 haunted locations in Delaware. Delaware might be a small state, but yet it has a lot of ghostly encounters. If you're enjoying this Haunted America series, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Believe me, leaving a 5-star review really does help. It's one of the easiest ways to support the show. And speaking about supporting the show, you could also go to our website, thehalloweenpodcast.com, go to our merch store, and get some podcast merch. I got a lot of good stuff up there, guys. So feel free to get in there. Stuff's really inexpensive. Stickers are only $2, and you can buy as many as you want. And if you buy some, I might just throw in a couple of extra ones for you to hand out. If you have any questions, comments, or want to suggest anything for a future show, send me an email, thehalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. Might take me a little bit of time to get through that because I got probably 40-something more of these episodes to do. So we got a long ways to go before I get back to regular episodes. And don't forget to go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/thehalloweenpodcast. Thanks again for listening, guys. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow because we will be exploring the state of Florida. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.